Okay, so to make up your final beret, if that's the one you're going to make, you need your outer fabric. I've chosen some sort of like Chanel-y pink fabric and lining fabric, and you just need enough, the same amount for each, the outer and the lining, as you used when you made your toile. You will also need your pattern, so your top, your bottom and your band, so that's over there ready to go. And you will also need Petersham to match, so that will be your head measurement plus 4 centimeters, so that's ready to go, and I'll just measure that out when I need it. So with your fabric, I'm suggesting that you use one of the soft interlinings, and we're going to fuse that onto this. I've laid it out here, and I'm just going to smooth that over. And when you touch this with the iron, it will heat it up and it will melt onto the fabric that you're using. Now, I've got a calico pressing cloth here because I don't want, sometimes a little bit of the sticky stuff comes off the back of it as well. So I'm just going to use this as a pressing cloth. Now, when you're doing this ironing, you can sort of become a bit of a sloth, let's say, or some other slow-moving creature. Now, I've got the fusing on the top, and I've got the fabric that I'm using on the bottom. And you need to know that if your fusing is ironed and there's no fabric under it, you'll find that it will stick to your ironing board. So just be really, really careful. My iron doesn't like being told what to do here. So I've given that a good, you saw how long I used it for. And if I try and peel this up, the fabric comes back. So that's how long it takes. Sometimes people come back to me and say, oh, it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick. If it doesn't stick, it's often because you're ironing in a speedy way instead of a slow way, and you're just not giving it enough time to really melt the fusing and make it stick. The other thing is, if you get it so that it actually sits together, then later you can, after you've cut everything out, you can refuse it. Just make sure that it's all nicely stuck together. And that fusing, just that, even this very light one, will make the whole hat just have a nicer feel than if you did it just with the fabric and no fusing. Now, I've got here enough for the top and the bottom, and I've set aside, and again, cut on the bias, I've set aside enough to make the side band, and I've just cut a rough shape so that I can fuse that with something that's a little bit stiffer. So you get to choose. I could have the whole thing in soft interfacing, but I think I want the band to just have a little bit more stiffness. So I'm setting that aside, and I'm going to fuse that with some Shapewell, which I've also got, which is a woven fabric, and that will give it just that little bit of stiffness. And when you've got all that together, then and the other thing that you do need, which I have somewhere, is matching thread, so that when you sew that, you can just load up your bobbin with the thread and the sewing machine. There's the thread that I've chosen to go with this, and I think it's going to be quite compatible. So next time you see this beret, you'll be seeing me cutting it out and getting it ready to assemble, and I'll be showing you some other stitches.